Assalamualaikum everyone, welcome to the fourth tutorial of the playlist Python from Zero to Hero. In this tutorial, we are going to be studying about a fairly easy simple concept known as variables in Python. Now, imagine variables as containers which are used to hold data or information. And you will better understand it with an example. So let me just make a new file. I'll press on new file, right? So I've opened my coding file and first I want to save it as, right, I'll just press on save and just save it as variables, right? Okay, now let's take an example that of course when you're living in a house, you have to track down multiple aspects of your expenses, right? Let's say I have grocery bills, I have gas bills, I have electricity bills. We can arrange this in two variables, right, which would be more easier and simpler to understand. Now I'll make first, it's really easy to make variables in Python. So first you'll write groceries, and I have made a variable here now, groceries, and I want to assign it to a specific value. Let's say that it was $500, so I'll say equal to $500, right? Now if I want to print groceries, like if I want to print the value of groceries, I'll write print, right, and then double quotes, and I'll say groceries. And now let's run this code and check the output. So here in my Python shell, I get groceries as my output, and of course I don't want that, right? It's just simple plain text. I want the value of groceries. So let's go back to our code and see the mistake. Now in the previous video, I also told you that whenever we want to display something on our application, like text, any plain text, we will always surround it by double or single quotes, right? But here we are dealing with variables, so always remember, in variables you never put double or single quotes around it, because it's not a text, it's not a plain text, it's basically a variable, it's basically a container. I'm calling the container, not the text of the container, right? So I'll just remove these double quotes, and now let's run this again, right? Okay, so I get my value 500, right? Now I can make multiple variables in Python. So let's say that I want to make a gas bill, so I'll say gas bill and equal to, now let's say if it was $200, right? And let's print gas bill. So let's check the value, right, it's 200. Okay, so we are done with the first step, which is how to make variables. Now let's say that you want to print 500 and 200 at a time, right? You don't want to write multiple statements, like you might say that I have to write groceries. You want to write it more efficiently, right? You don't want to write it multiple times, print groceries, print gas bills. Like you might have a lot of variables and you might need to write a lot of print statements. So what you can do is that I'll remove both of these and I'll say print, right? I'll put colon, and basically I can print these two variables in a single line, right? So I can say groceries and I can say gas bill, and then whenever I run this code, I should receive 500 and 200. So there you go, you have the value of groceries and gas bills. Now if you notice that the variable gas bill, it's a bit ugly, right? Like when someone is looking at your code, he might get confused with a lot of, because you have squished a lot of words, like together. Now you might want to change this, and we can make this variable more beautiful. We can say that gas underscore bill. Yes, you can add underscores in your variables. So now it's much more neat and clean. So whenever another person is reading your code, he can see, okay, gas underscore bill, right, equals to 200. So now if we compare it with gas bill equal to 200, now tell me honestly, which one is more neater, gas underscore bill or gas bill? Because gas underscore bill, is more understandable, more neat and clean, right? So let me print this statement. Let me print gas underscore bill, right? Always remember you don't need to put double quotes or single quotes, and the syntax is as simple as that. Let me run it. Yes, I get the value 200. Now there are specific rules for writing variables, right? You cannot have numbers in the beginning of variables with variables. So I can say that gas bill underscore, and this variable would be invalid. To gas bill equals to 200, right? And if I print to gas bill, let's check the output of it. Let me run it. Okay, so it gives me an error. It says invalid decimal literal. So that is basically giving that you can't have a number starting a variable, right? So that's one of the things. Let me just comment out this code, right? Okay, second of all, you can't have a hyphen with your variable. Now I told you that you can separate gas bills into two different words, you know, make it more understandable, neater. But you can't do that with a hyphen. So you can't say gas hyphen bill equals to 200. And now if you want to print gas bill, let's check, let's run it, and let's run it. So it says cannot assign to expression here. Maybe you meant equal to instead of equal to. So basically that the Python compiler is trying to say that you meant equal to, you know, something like that, but ignore this one. What it's trying to say is that you can't have a hyphen, you know, hyphen with a gas bill, and it's trying to say that you meant, you know, some other thing. So another thing to keep in mind, that you can't have hyphen with your variables. Let me comment that out as well, right? Second thing, right, you can't have spaces in your variables. So you can't say gas space bill equals to 200, right? And if I print this and say gas space bill, and if I run it, let's check the output, right? It's gonna give me an error, invalid syntax, right? So you can't have spaces. The third thing to remember, you can't have spaces in your variables. The most thing you can have is underscores, right? So let me, yeah, perhaps you, right, yeah, I should name this correctly, gas bill. Now let's run this. Okay, yeah, so basically if you want to separate two, like if you have 2-3 words in your variables, you can separate it using underscores, but you can't use spaces. You can't put integers or floats at the start of variables, or you can't put hyphen. Next thing is that I want you guys to know that you can assign, now Python is case sensitive, right? So what you want to do is, now let me give you an example. What do I mean by case sensitive is that a equals to 5 and a equals to 5, right? These are both different variables, right? Capital A and small a. Python doesn't, like, you know, Python doesn't recognizes that much English, right? It says, okay, a is a variable, capital A is a variable, it's equal to 5. Small a is a variable, it's equal to 5 or 6, right? Whatever. But these are both different variables. You can't treat capital A the same as small a, right? Okay, now let me prove that. So let's say print small a, right? Because let's say that you're saying capital A can be treated as small a in Python. It can't. If I run this, right, it says name A is not defined. Did you mean capital A, right? Look what you got there. So it says that the small a, it's not defined, right? Did you mean the capital A? The same thing is, so it means that Python is case sensitive. Now you can do the same mistake with gas bills. If you say gas underscore bill equal to 300, and if you say gas underscore bill equal to 200, note these are two different variables again, because if you even change a single letter, a single uppercase or lowercase letter in your variable, it's a different thing, right? So if I print gas bill, now let me remove the one with capital, I'll print one with the capital gas bill, right? And if I run it, Let's check the output. Right, it says name capital gas bill is not defined. Did you mean the gas bills with small g and b, right? So you have to be aware of that Python is case sensitive in every case, right? Another thing I want to cover in variables is that you can assign different variables to different values in a single line. Let's say I have groceries and gas bills, right? Here what I did essentially is that I made two different lines. I said groceries equal to 500 and gas bill equals to 200. But what if I want to write it more efficiently, like more neatly? I can say that groceries comma gas underscore bill equal to. Now the first value here you write would be assigned to groceries, and second value would be assigned to gas bill, right? So let's say I want to assign grocery to 600 now, and it's the same thing, you put a comma, and let's say you want to assign gas bill to this time 300, so it's increased by 100. And if I print, let's print these two together, right? So groceries comma gas underscore bill, right? And if I run this, okay, it's gonna say gas bill okay, so yeah, let me just comment out this code, because if you have an error in the middle of code, you can't run the last part of the code, right? So I'm having an error here in the middle part of the code, so I can't run the last part of the code. My code needs to go in a flow, so let me comment that out as well. Okay, now let's run the code again, right? So here you're seeing the values. Ignore this value, the previous value. So here we have 600 and 300. We said print groceries, print gas bill, right? When we go back to our Python shell, it prints 600 and 300. And the last thing I want to cover with you is that now if we say here gas bill equals to 300, right? And if I print gas bill, just focus on the output, right? If you focus on the output, it's going to give me 300, right? If I remove this statement, let me remove this statement. Right? Okay, now it's going to give me 300. Like if you just imagine, because if you see, first I assigned gas bill to 200, then I assigned gas bill to 300. Why didn't it give me 200? Now always remember, in Python, right, in like most of the programming languages, whatever you assign the same variable with the latest value, it will always print the variable with the latest value, right? So gas bill here was 200, right? This was gas bill 200 and this was gas bill 300. If I print gas bill again, it's going to give me the latest value, which is 300. So if you have if you might do this mistake in your code, like you have the same two variables, and maybe you want, you have $300 and $200 for gas bills, right? So what you are doing is you are making two variables, same name, gas bill and gas bill, and you made one with 200 and one with 300, right? Let's say you want to split some sort of gas bill into two variables. You can't do that in Python, right? What you can try to do is you can put underscore after bill, and you can say gas bill underscore 1, and here you can put gas bill underscore 2, right? And you can say print gas bill underscore 1 comma print gas bill underscore 2, right? So I'm running, right, it's giving me 200 and 300, because if you check here, I'm saying gas bill 1, which was 200, gas bill 2, which was 300, gas bill 1 and gas bill 2, right? Okay everyone, that was pretty much with variables. That was pretty much everything with variables. So just play around with the code, and remember, you're not going to learn just by watching. So make your own variables, play a little bit with the code, try some experiments, right? So that's the way you will learn how to code, right? So I'll see you in the next tutorial. Till then, assalamu alaikum.